Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to the channel. And it's a beautiful day in downtown Burbank, and it's not a bad day here in the Central Tablelands of New South Wales, Australia. So what we're looking at today is this classic 350 Reborn, and what I'm going to do first is I'm going to get out there and give it a bit of a wash and clean it up, because I had a bit of a rough trot the other day on another dirt road and got a bit of mud on it. Just go around it now, you can have a bit of a look. So I'm going to clean that right up, and then I've just got a new set of saddlebags that arrived for this bike today, so we're going to fit those saddlebags and see how they look on the bike itself, and if it's an improvement or not. I think it will be, but you know, like beauty is always in the eye of the beholder, and I could be a bit biased on this particular bike because 350 Classic, after all, is my favourite bike. So apart from, it might not be in the long term, who knows, when I get that Hunter 350, it could be. So at this stage, this is top kingpin here in the yard, and it goes from there. Now while we're at it, we'll just talk about, I'd like to say thanks to those who give me favourable comments on the X-Max 300 paint job. You know, I suppose I was a little bit hard on the job itself. I said I'd give it about 6 or 7. You know, if I would have been full of bullshit, or like the other blokes on different channels, they would have been sucking all that in and telling you, yeah, thanks mate, good. But I like to tell it as I see it, and I still think it's around about 6 or 7. And I think that would have been mainly because, you know, when I paint in braille, so I just go with the flow and fire it on. So if it works, it works. It's all good by me, and if it doesn't, well, bad luck. So apart from that, you know, for what it is, a rattle can job, $350 outlay. It come in all right, and you know, I don't get over there now, and we're looking at it now, and if I don't look across and think what a horrible heap of shit that is. I mean, it was all right for when I first got it, and I actually think it looks a bit better there now, and you know, for 350 outlay, and the fact that nobody would want to buy it, well, that pleases me pretty well, and I can get on with that side of it and get out there and ride around. But what I did find, like I did take it for a test ride after it, and I took those photos in the park. What I did find with this X-Max 300, doesn't matter how good these scooters are, only a outright liar would say to you, a scooter's better to ride than an actual motorbike, because a scooter does everything well, but it doesn't do things as well as a motorbike. A motorbike just outblasts them in all areas. I mean, if you said to me, between that X-Max 300 and say a Royal Enfield Classic 350 or a Himalayan or even a 500 single, which one's got the most power? Well, that X-Max would knock over all those bikes, and I think it'd probably knock them all over at once, and you could tie all those Enfields together and still pull them along. But the fact is, it might have more power, but with a 15-inch front, 14-inch rear, it's not as much fun to ride as an actual motorcycle, where you get that feeling, you know, that you are dropped back 50 years in time and you're hitting the track and let it rip. So that was something I thought I'd do. So once those who give favourable comments, you know, like I'm not there to see how much good comments, I'm just there to tell you as it is and put it up. Now number 3 I would be thinking about would be, this was a bit of an interesting one. As a rule, most of my clips have been pulling about 600 or a little bit better per view. But when I put the clip up of the bike on the ground, I went to 2,500 views. Now, why would that be? Like, you know, like, would it be because they'd like to see the bike on the ground, or would they like to see if the rider copped a bit of a workout when the bike went on the ground? Now, the worst thing about what happened on that one was, it's hard to believe, but I lost 8 loser subs because of that bike fell over, or I didn't hurt myself, one or the other. So I don't really know what went wrong there, but it goes to show you at times what trash I collect, because, you know, like to come along and who would want to go to somebody's channel and then decide you're going to unsubscribe? And then, like I said, I'm on -8 on that one, just because the bike fell over. Did I go into that paddock and say, today's your big day? No, I never. It happened that quick. I didn't know it happened, and next minute that bike's on the ground. Bloody didn't even cry, it just cut straight out, and I never thought much about it later on, but the rollover sensor must have just cut the motor straight away, and I was on a bit of a possibly adrenaline rush, I suppose, and after I took my photos, you know, some people were thinking pretty good of me to get those photos. Well, I don't know, you know, as far as I'm concerned, they're only bloody motorbikes. You can buy them anywhere, or I can buy them any time I want to, and I don't give a stuff. And the fact is, they're just something for me to ride to fill in time. So I've got in and washed the bike because a clean bike's a healthy bike, and I bring it back over here and I set it there, and I thought I could move the car out of the way but stuff it. We're here to look at the bike, not the car. So as far as that goes, I did have about 3 attempts of getting this bike up in the centre stand, and I think, I don't know whether I lost those 5 kilos, sort of knocked me around a bit, I don't know, but I sort of was a little bit lacking in arm strength, and it hadn't really happened before. So that was one thing I found out on today's exercise, is that took a little bit of pulling on that centre stand, and you know, that's how it went. So here we are, we've got the new stays and bags from India, and they're nicely wrapped, and you know, you can see them there now, so they're coming out pretty good. So when we get into it there now, I've got my strap there, and I've got the other saddlebag out, and then I look down the box and I've got the brackets which hold those stays to the side of the bike. Got it now, they're good grip there, and these nuts and bolts. Now the strange thing about this bike, or box I should say, looks like it's had the shit kicked out of it, and if you really look at that hole there, you notice how good I am at fingering it, and I can poke them right through, because I've had past experience there, and as far as that goes, you just have no trouble poking it in or through. So when you get it in there like that, straight through like that, buggered if I know how come I never lost those bolts or nuts and that, but then again they were a little bit on the short side anyway, and the bolts weren't really long either, and I think as far as that goes, there was a bit of a problem there with it, and I really think you need better ones. So even though they come with it and the kit's got it, I think you could do with better ones on it, and you'll see later on. As far as the box go, well, it's a World War II relic, and I think it was a fairly crappy one, and you wouldn't have thought a new item would have come in a box like that, but things improve. See, we'd look at the original stays that I didn't line up properly, like to use tie clips there. Well, that wasn't a really good move in those days, but I had to panel beat those with a bit of a hammer to get them in line. But strangely, these new ones I've got, and these must be a little bit slightly designed for the 350 Reborn, I think these are better. Now, if you look at them here now, and I've got them out of the box, you've got the original one from the motorbike, what I bought originally going back several months ago, and the new one on the left, it's the one with the 4-hole in it. So there's a hole there to fit everybody, I think. And as far as that goes, well, I don't know what the purpose. I tell you what it would be good for. When I had a CT125, I used a fuel can in a whole system like that, and you could probably put one of those plastic fuel cans on there and look the part, you know, like as if you're really going out to battle and you're going long distance. Now, they are a tad smaller in size. The new one, you can see looking down at now, the one on the left is definitely the new one's a bit better. And more importantly, when I said it fits better, I didn't have to use angle grinder to trim that bottom left-hand piece. Now when you look at them, I've put them up now, you'll see the platform where the saddlebags sit is a lot smaller and compact on the new one compared to the old one, which is held together by 2 screws or 2 bolts at the bottom to hold it there. But what do you say? Do I like this new one or the old one? No, I really like this new design, and you know, it's the best thing about it, what I just pointed to then, is it didn't line up too well on that one, and that's why I had to use the tie clips. And on the new one, it lined up really nice and went straight in position, and you know, I reckon I got these new stays and saddlebags at a very good price, and I'll put a link on it in the description. But see, once again now, you see it right around. It was a little bit slightly different made, about the same material. So as far as that, I reckon, you know, I got good value there, and I think if you're out on the market and looking for a set of these, and I'll have to, before I put this video together, I'll have to check and see if there's any other colours apart from the one I got. They might be only carrying the one stock of colours, but I'll have all that information when I just put it up there, and that'll give you an idea. But when you think of it, and I'll hit you with the price now, I bought these saddlebags and stays as a complete package for $170. Now, I tell you what, I class that as pretty cheap. I'll bring out another set of bags I'd bought. I think they were called Oxford, and I bought them and for this bike, and I didn't like them much when I got them, and I think I paid $500 for the 2 saddlebags and the support bag that goes over the back section. So here's a quick look at the Oxford bags, 3 for $500 compared to those Indian ones. Take no notice of the ramp, that's for the wife to get up onto the lounge anytime she wants to get there, and it helps her out. So as far as things go, these ones here, I think $400 or $500 are highly overpriced, and if there's any animal activists out there watching this one, yeah, well, even though I've got one of those walking weaners, they're okay. I always do the right thing by her, and if she wants to get on the lounge, I'll lift her up too. Okay guys, here's the item number for those bag and stays. There's a couple of other different ones there. They're a little bit dearer in the colours, and I think it depends on what's popular and what's not. But this one for the Halcyon Grey sort of suits me, and anyone's got a Halcyon Grey, they'd be pretty happy with this deal. And if you want the other colours, you pay a bit extra for that setup. Now, before anyone gets on the air later on and said, hey, Warro, I picked up that same set you got for $158, let me say one thing to you. Wrong. You'll pick up the $158 ones, but they got the old style stays on them, and they're the ones that are on the bike now, and I don't think they're very well made compared to the new ones. They don't light up properly, so the best thing is check your facts before you fire off and fire a bullet over this way, and I won't have to correct you, and you've got yourself a good deal regardless. Okay guys, we've got the stays in position, and here they are now. Now what I like about them, one, they line up pretty good, and they're fairly well made for what sort of money involved. But this part here, if you remember what the other one I just pulled off, I had to attach it via a tie clip there because one, it never had bolts with it, and number two, this part here was crooked and wouldn't line up on the mudguard stay. But in this case, both of them lined up pretty good with no drama, and when you look at it now, they look pretty good I think on the bike. All I got to do is tighten the bolts, and then I can have a go at the bags. I'll have a look over here. Yeah, so let's have a quick look how to fit the stays, and this is how we're going to go about it. We're going to put the bike up in the centre stand to start with, and that means it's up there and all good in that area there. So go to your shock tower at the top there, and you're going to pull that bolt out, and it's 17mm, either open end, socket, ratchet, whatever you want to use, and you may have a little bit of trouble getting that bolt out. The back wheel sort of drops slightly and hard. So that's easy to get that out of the way. Just put your hand down there onto the swing arm, like on this photo here, and pull up, grab your bolt, and you'll find it'll come out quite easy. And you'll also find that bottom one, the next one at the bottom, it'll come out quite easy too, and it'll also go back in easy. And then when you want to put this rack on and you want to put it back on, once again, grab that swing arm after you tighten the bottom one first, and lift up the swing arm and it'll go in place. Now the last but not least, you've got your bracket type stay. It sits on the mudguard support. Now if you're worried about a couple of scratches on the bike, like, honestly I couldn't care less, or I would do it, but I don't care. So that's my excuse. But your excuse might be, no, I don't want to mark on my bike. And you're entitled to think whatever you want and do whatever you want, and doesn't really worry me, and I don't care one way or the other. But this is what you could do. You could go and get something like a piece of garden hose or something like that, and you could just cut it to, I don't know, inch or so long, split it down one side, wrap it around the thing there, black one, or any of the watering type hoses or stuff like that, and that'll save you problems there. But even I wouldn't worry about that crap if it was me, and I wanted to be desperate, and I got a roll of it there. I got some really good quality gaffer tape there, but I don't care one way or the other. But okay guys, bags are on now, let's do a summary. So what do I think? So let's have a quick look. Just in case you're wondering, when you put the bags up, strap goes onto the main rail there, pulls straight up, there. When you get to the side section, once again, wraps around it, over to the loops, pull it back, velcro it back. One good thing about this, it's got really strong velcro. In fact, some of the strongest velcro I've ever tried, and there's the other side there. So apart from that, pretty simple. These are virtually got a liner inside. Now let's talk what we think of them. Okay, if you're a fairly miserable person, you expect that much value for money, anything you buy, probably these bags aren't for you. But if you're an average sort of person that thinks to yourself, well, in my case, You know, did I get me $170 worth compared to the bags I got in there for $500? I actually thought the bags in there for $500 are highly overpriced, and this one for $170 with stays, although I wouldn't say it is the best quality canvas ones I've bought from India, I haven't bought them for this price either. They've cost me a lot more. So if you ask me value for money, I'd have to say 8 out of 10 there, because, you know, where else can you get a set of bags? And the reason I bought these bags, when you look at it, is they're very close to a perfect match for this bike, and it's very hard to get a Halcyon grey bike with saddlebags which almost go very close to the colour. I mean, the Halcyon grey is really a blue, but this grey goes close to it, and I don't think I've ever seen blue saddlebags for sale in canvas anywhere. And I did buy a pair once, and they were really chatty looking things, and I think I paid about $60 for them, and just not worth putting on the bike itself. But overall, you know, for what they are, and taking into account, I'm only just letting you know what I think. I don't get any kickback or anything from it or anything like that, because I don't work like that, and I don't care, and I'm not worried about the few dollars that way that it'd generate if I contact them and said, how about if I can see if I can sell you a few sets. That idea doesn't interest me at all, but the fact is, maybe in the GoPro they're coming out a little bit darker looking in the screen here than what they actually are, because they are a bit lighter than what it shows. They're not all that far off the colour of the bike. You know, you'd have to be colourblind to say they're the exact colour, but no, they're not. But they do blend in better compared to other ones I've had on the bikes, and they don't work too good at all. So apart from that, all the info is there, you know, like for a budget set for $170. The best part about it really would have to be the new stays that hold the rack in place, because they are really good. And I'm really impressed on how they lined up so perfectly, or virtually perfectly, and went together really well. And you know, if you look at them, I think if you have to go and buy them off some of the vendors, I think they want around $100, $130 for those. So if you look at it that way, you're getting these bags for virtually near nothing. So that's about it. I reckon the bike looks good on it. I think it's sort of, compared to, I did try a set of bags on it from the green one when I had it, and went out a couple of times with it on it. Those particular bags were a little bit better quality built, a little bit more heavier duty than these, and a little bit, you know, you could tell in the, like in the brass work and the style of the bag. But then again, I think they were $100-something dearer for the pair. Now, if you said, well, if you could have got those ones in this grey, would you have bought those ones? Yeah, but fact is, I looked everywhere and couldn't find anything else. So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, you know, the value is here, and the bike looks good with them on, and that way I can go out now, put my stuff in it, and if I do this camping series too later on, well, I can still put my gear in that, I can put my drone in the back, all the sort of stuff I want, and it's virtually cost me nothing to do it. And if anything, if you said what really annoys me the most, I think paying $500 for those 3 Oxford ones, they're the ones that really annoy me compared to this. This is pretty good value, and like I said, it's got a bit of a liner inside there, so all good in that line. So apart from that, hopefully this was of interest to you, and if you're a guy on a budget and you're after something for a set of cheap saddlebags that look all right, I reckon this is for you. If you're out there trying to find a bargain, you don't want to pay for stuff, my advice would be go elsewhere. So apart from that, thanks for tuning in, take a look, catch you later.